And welcome into Smooth Operators, episode 6 of our summer shenanigans. We hope you had a wonderful time this morning watching the Canadian Grand Prix. We know George Russell didn't, but how are you guys doing today, Griggs and Ben McClarkin?
I'm doing really well.
I don't get the last name.
No, you don't.
Is it
I,
just
I
too
thought
hard for
your
you,
last
Noah?
name was McClarkin. I thought
It
all
is
of
not.
our
I mean,
last
better.
names were McClarkin.
Uh,
I
uh,
mean, that's how I'm
contrary,
feeling right now, given how
contr
my predictions went.
contrary to popular belief, it is Father's Day. Ben is in fact not our father, since yeah,
I mean, in the fantasy, I'm looking like all of y'all's dad.
I've not checked F1 fantasy since I left Auburn. So
You don't have to. Just know that I'm winning.
You never
yeah,
leave.
My Nick DeFreeze pick probably still isn't looking good. But yes,
Oh.
welcome back to Smooth Operators. Noah and Ben are currently in the Harbert College of Business in Triple H. It's so Horton Hardgrave Hall. I am a time zone away, as we've been calling it here on the show, God's time zone, the Eastern time zone. I'm in
We.
Charlotte, North Carolina, or me, really. But yes, we are not back yet. But don't worry, we still got Formula One content for y'all. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. Today was the Canadian Grand Prix, which was again, of course, won by Mr. Max Verstappen, his third win in the row. Red Bull has now won 9 races in a row for the second time in the team's history. With Max Verstappen's win today, Red Bull passes 100 victories for the team. Max gets to 42 wins, which now ties Ayrton Senna for, I believe, sixth all time, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Sixth all time. So yes, the podium went as follows: Max Verstappen, P1, earning 25 points. 9 seconds behind him, a little bit closer gap than we've seen the past couple weeks, is Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin, scoring 18 points. In third place, rounding out the podium, is number 44 for Mercedes, Sir Lewis Hamilton, number 44, 14 seconds behind Max Verstappen with the 15 points. And a 4-5, both Ferrari boys, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, finishing fourth and fifth. After, we'll talk about this later, a great strategy call from the boys in red. Sergio Perez in sixth, scoring 9 points today, including 1 point for the fastest lap near the end of the race. Today's driver of the day, scoring 6 points for Williams in seventh. Alex Albon, 6 points.
Right.
What an incredible drive from him today. In eighth place is everyone's favorite driver on this show, Esteban Ocon, scoring 4 points for Alpine. In ninth place in his home Grand Prix, it is Lance Stroll, the 18 of Aston Martin, scoring 2 points. And rounding out the top after a Lando Norris penalty, it is number 77, Valtteri Bottas of Alfa Romeo with a point. We had two DNFs this race. Logan Sargent after, I believe, the first 20-ish laps, and then George Russell, who at some point in the race caused a safety car, went on, continued racing. His brakes ended up being too bad to finish, so he does not finish. So 18 drivers finished today. I believe that makes, for the last 4 races, there have only been 6 retirees, or it might be 5. I can't remember if they were counting that Logan's or not before they count that. So 5 to 6 retirees in the last 4 races. So we've been getting a lot of good, clean racing lately, gentlemen. What were your thoughts on today's Grand Prix?
I mean, it was clean except for what happened to Lando Norris, and what happened to Nico and Yuki. But you know,
Hey,
whatever.
Lando committed an unsportsmanlike penalty. He had to give up 15 yards. All right, all fair is in love and gridiron.
Mm.
Yeah. And you know what? No, you did say on the last episode how Lewis would win from the FIA's favor. He didn't quite, but he did get away with an unsafe release
He did.
and got second.
He
So,
he did get a
I
podium
mean,
out of that.
also, can we talk about the fact that Yuki and Kevin just drove each other off the road
That was hilarious. They
and
quite
then onto the
literally,
street?
they quite literally just said, "No, you're not turning." I was
Yeah,
laughing my butt off on my couch.
that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
But folks, before we let Ben and Griggs dive deeper into this with their smart knowledge, I just gotta tell you, the plan worked. All right,
El Bland.
I don't even know what we started at, but El Bland worked. All right, we didn't pit. All right, I thought it was a terrible idea. I texted these guys and said, "Oh, Ferrari didn't pit." And then all of a sudden,
Split.
we got a fourth and fifth. All right, we are one DNF away from a podium. We're three DNFs away from a 1-2. All right, so in my books, we won and we won Le Mans. All right, we are back up as the Prancing Ponies. All right, I don't want to hear nothing out of you two about, oh, Le Mans doesn't count toward the season for F1. It does in my heart. All right, you saw Charles Leclerc looking at that Le Mans winner. Tell me that man is not inspired.
Well, everyone knows Garage 56 was the winner of Le Mans in everyone's hearts. That's a fact.
Yes. I mean, they beat all of the GTP cars, which are purpose built for Le Mans racing. So it's a win. It's a win for me too.
Win
And they
for
ran past LMP2s. So
Who's better car? We'll discuss on the next F1 episode of Smooth Operators, Ferrari or Chevy. Tune in next week to find out.
Builds a better
But
car.
yes, with Ferrari's double points finished today, they are now at fourth place in the driver standings. Still were 122. Aston Martin and Mercedes are getting closer. Mercedes 167 points. Aston Martin at 154. They are now 13 points behind the other green car. And Red Bull just getting out to more of a demanding lead. Let me do some calculations. 321 points for Red Bull. They are now 154 points ahead of Mercedes. So they are combined Aston Martin's point total. That's how many points ahead Red Bull are of Mercedes in second place. So this one is getting out of hand very quickly. They're not letting Ferrari have a head start like they did last year. And it's only round 9 of this Formula One season. And we got 23 races left. But yeah, it's starting to become a big, big gap.
it is. And I mean, Red Bull's reached 100 wins now. Sky's the limit, I think, in terms of what they do from here on out. I'm very excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, Red Bull was at 759 last year. So doing the math again, they are already have 42.2% of the points they had in last season's calendar. So they could potentially pass their point total from last season, which I gotta imagine it was close to the highest ever point total in F1 history. Probably competing with those Bottas Hamilton years, I assume.
I think so. And in terms of dominance too. I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
What a move today for Williams with the Alex Albon finishing P7. They jump AlphaTauri to now 9th in the constructor standings there in 7 points with 9. Haas is 1 point above them at 8. In 7th place is Alfa Romeo with 9, and McLaren in 6th with 17. So we're starting to just feel the top 5 basically already said. Now it's just kind of see who's going to kind of set the stone for the bottom tier teams right now. That's really what we're kind of getting into the way, because I don't think McLaren's going to pass Alpine, barring a couple DNFs and some double points from McLaren. I don't think that's going to really happen.
I agree.
And you brought up where Haas was in the standings. They could have really had a big points gain today, but Nico Hulkenberg got done did by the FIA, and he jumped all the way back to 15th from the third place pole position before they took it away from him from that red flag. Did he not come in during the red flag? Was that it? Was that correct? Is that what they officially labeled it as? Ben?
For who?
For
We are looking.
Nico.
Of why he didn't get the why he got pushed from P2 on the starting all the way to like what, P4, P5?
Yeah, P5. I can't.
I think what happened, I think he was speeding under the red flag, and I think in the Q1, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what it was. I think he was going too fast under a red flag in Q1. I think that's what caused it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's what happened.
I just thought he
And I think some other people got. I think there's. No, he did come in. That's not the penalty. I think he was just going too fast under the red flag.
Got you. Well, either way, the FIA
But I could be wrong.
struck their hammer down, and he finished 15th. So.
They're out to get the Americans.
Exactly.
It's a shame.
I mean,
anything else you want to talk? I mean, go ahead.
I was about to say, to transition us into the next segment, Logan Sargent, a true-blooded American, did not want to be in Canada. and he was the first to get a DNF. What was it, on lap 9 or so, I think?
It was
Something like
very
that.
early on, yeah.
Which promoted the
He had a rough
greatest
time.
strategy call in all of recorded motorsports history, with Ferrari
I don't know
staying
about
out.
that.
I don't know about that one. I think
Uh,
Verstappen pitting for new soft tires in Abu Dhabi 2021 might be one up there. But yeah, I don't think the Ferrari 4-5 finish on a pit stop.
I mean, they had little to lose and little
Hey,
to gain.
it's baby steps for Ferrari. Eventually, we're gonna make it. We're making correct strategy calls. We're not accidentally double boxing in Monaco. We're gonna get there. We're gonna climb the ladder. Eventually, we might get back to a podium soon.
Very
Not
true, very
eventually.
true.
Not eventually. That'd be soon. Don't worry about it.
But yes, our next topic of discussion was Logan Sargent. He is one of the only drivers to see. This actually today was the first race where he has not finished a race. He's finished all other 8 races this year. But yeah, he's one of 2 drivers not to score points yet this year. He's one of 2 rookies on, or 3 rookies on the calendar this year, with Nick DeVries as well as Oscar Piastri. Of course, DeVries already driving last year, 1 race for Williams, scoring points. But the future of the American probably is not in great hands right now, especially since he has not scored points yet. When his teammate Alex Albon is up to 12th in the driver's standings now with 7 points, 6 of them coming today. So
Yeah,
my question is, what does his future in the sport look like? Obviously, he's going to make it past this year, but he's got to get points eventually, right? Like
he
he's got
does.
to catch a break because like last year everyone scored points. The year before, no, not everyone did. So kind of wondering to see what's going to happen. It's like, okay, first question before you get into to this, Ben, do you think Nick or Logan are going to score points first?
That's a good question. Given that they're both, how do I say this? Given that they're both in equally tight situations, they're going to be competing as hard as they can. But I think we got to give it to Logan. Um, not for giving the points yet. I'm not going to say that who's going to get it first. But we have to give it to Logan. He's driving in a car that literally has a flat floor, and
Like
every other
like
team
Noah's
has
truck. We talked about that in our group chat.
yeah, we did. I sent that out and I was like, guys, this car is completely underdeveloped. I, I, I mean, they just straight up forgot about the floor when they designed it, and that's the most important component of the car. Like, and it's not his fault that he doesn't have Alex Albon's superpowers. You know, like Alex has always done better in an underperforming car. Um, and when he knows that he can, when he has security, I think he does a lot better. And he also seems to be in a really good place as a driver, just in terms of his his approach and how he feels. I think going into the weekend, and I mean in the interviews, he's largely positive and seems very upbeat, and I think that's helping him as well in his career. Um, and having a teammate like that's really important for Logan, especially to learn from, given that he's having a tough season so far. So, do I do I think that he's gonna, you know, beat Alex the rest of the season out? No. Do I think he'll get points before DeVries? Yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
do. Um, I think he's I think he's in an environment where your career doesn't go to die if you're not successful. Whereas at Alpha Tower, you can't really go further down. Does that make sense? Given that you're in a
Yeah,
junior team ish, it's not technically a junior team. They say it's its own entity, but given that you're in your junior team, you can't really go back in F1 and downgrade team wise. Like he's hit it. I think DeVries has hit his ceiling as far as his career, or I think he's hit the floor as far as his career's gone. He can't go any further down. So I think Logan's got more to lose, but more to gain. I think he's gonna I think he's going to get points first, and maybe even in Austria. We'll see.
I think Logan can stick around longer just because that with 3 races now in America is just so important. They really have that. They have to find an American driver that can stick around in Formula One. We've not really had a consistent American driver in years. It's just they need to establish like that gets someone up to the standards of Formula One. Even though he is in a Williams, yes, but
And
I
I
mean,
think he is to
yeah,
the
Alex.
standard. For I mean, he's finished last of the running cars when he's run every race, but one or two, which is difficult. You know,
Mhm.
it takes a hit. But Nick hasn't improved. That's what I've been looking for is improvement. Logan barely misses out Q2 most every weekend, whereas Nick is usually a solid 17th every time. And Logan also is making a bunch of rookie mistakes in qualifying that hurt his performance throughout the weekend too. You know, if you talk about where he had that time that was Q2 eligible, um, where was it? And that was 4 races ago. Oh my goodness, where was the race? In Miami. It was in Miami. He missed out on Q2 by like several thousandths of a second with his time, and then it was deleted, so he wound up starting last on the grid. Um, it's just things like that. He just keeps getting unlucky, and I think it has to go his way at some point.
Agreed. I think it can just. I think they're. I think he'll stick around longer than other drivers that are in this position if he doesn't score points soon. Just because, again, he's the American. They need an American to be successful in Formula One. They need to propel that up, and especially with Williams, with the owners that they have that are the American fund now, they want to have an American driver. They're getting American sponsorships like Duracell. Before this year, they were in a partnership with them. I think Logan had a good thing that came with that, and especially with AlphaTauri, with Yuki potentially being on his last year of his contract. Just so much up in the air with them. But Corey, he was going to be a Logan only section, but now we're kind of going into Nick and Logan.
Yeah, let's talk
It's just,
market. Let's just branch
it's
out a
just,
little bit.
yeah. I mean, Yuki 2 points in an Avatar through 9 races. That's honestly, with the way that car is driving, that's pretty good. Especially
It's
with
very impressive. Yeah.
he's finishing top 13, 14 every race. It feels like.
Hmm.
So he's hanging around there. He's not being a back straggler. I mean, what do you think of K-Mag? I mean, this has been seen to be an okay Hoskar. He's gotten 6 points. Nico's gotten 6 points. K-Mag's gotten two.
Hmm.
He's on the last year of his contract. I mean,
Yeah, the
he proved
pressure's
himself last year. He's good to go, but I mean, is Haas really like considering like it's got a decent engine? I mean, it's just a matter of just been getting really lucky out the start. They don't got that. They don't have that good straight line speed. That's why you see them get past quickly, even if they have good qualifying sessions, because they've
yeah.
had Nico high up today in qualifying. He got finished, I believe, in like 15th.
And I mean, it is
K-Mag is
not
qualified.
qualifying,
Hmm.
you know. But
True.
yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that they just could have a chance. Just like I don't know, just last year's contract. Interesting. Zhou Guan Yu's on his last year of his contract. I mean, 4
He's
points in an Alfa Romeo. I
he's
think he'll
staying.
get another contract. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you
I
can
don't.
chime in if you want to.
I've just been tantalized by y'all's conversation, but one thing I do want to bring up about the Nick DeVries, um, Logan Sargent talk is Nick DeVries might be a one-trick pony. He may only
Hmm.
be able to win at Monza, and if
We'll have to see.
it's in
That's his
six,
only points.
if it's in 6 races from now, if Logan Sargent can score between then, I think he can get a point before Nick DeVries. But I honestly think Nick DeVries might only be able to score at Monza. And that's going to be
But
my whole hat in the situation.
but here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? This is why my Logan theory is actually comes into play with that because guess what Nick DeVries was in? He was in a Williams. And that Williams only got points at Monza, well, for one of two reasons. One, because there was a lot of people out. But two, and probably more importantly, that car is really good in a straight line because it's just smooth. It's a smooth surface. They're not trying to generate downforce. I'm pretty sure they're afraid of it.
They're going
At
for speed.
Williams, they're just going for straight line speed. And guess what? That car on the fastest track on the F1 calendar, at least is in terms of straights, is concerned. I think they have a chance. It's not the fastest track overall. Obviously, that's Saudi Arabia. But as far
Well,
as
Saudi Arabia, you have to generate a good bit more downforce. It feels like than in Monza.
hmm you see where I'm going with this?
I see where you're going with this.
I
We're
think
going to
there's a
Daytona.
good shot. They would do
Detroit
great
Street
at
Circuit.
Daytona. They would do good at Daytona. I don't think they do well at the Charlotte Roval though.
I don't care. Go to the Detroit Street Circuit. We need it in Formula One. I want to have it. The day this happens, even if we leave college and we stop doing the show after we're out of college, the day they announce the Detroit Street Circuit, I'm going to grab my computer, fire up the internet. I'm going to be like, I told y'all, boys. I told y'all. Formula One's going to the Motor City. It's called the Motor City for a reason. You think Ford is being taken on as an engine partner by Red Bull not to have a Detroit Grand Prix?
Yes.
You got to think, man. You got to think.
I like the process. I like the.
Now, if
I like
America
the
gets
full hat,
if America
but
gets 4 races before Germany gets 1 back on the calendar, they're gonna be pissed. I'd be mad.
I'd be upset.
I wouldn't be.
That would be a genuine travesty.
Imagine
Because
like,
Germany has so many
okay,
great
where
tracks.
where are they going? Okay, they have to go to another like. What if they went to like a West Coast? Okay, they did Los Angeles Street Circuit or something like that. Nope, they're going to Detroit.
No, please no.
Tell me they're going to New York or something. No, they're going to Detroit.
I mean,
I'd
they
rather
could go to
them go to
Long
Glen.
Beach.
Send them to Watkins Glen or Long Beach.
North Wilkesboro,
I'm down for that.
Bristol Dirt.
No,
Dallas Motor
not Bristol
Speedway.
Dirt.
Yes, Bristol Dirt.
Dallas Motor Speedway.
No.
I
Right.
love the idea of Bristol Dirt, but it just in application.
One cars of
Bristol
dirt. Think about Cars 2. When they were in Japan, they were drifting on the dirt. Francesco Bernoulli could not do it. Lightning McQueen could, and so could the French rally car. Think about it.
The GT cars did not do well either. Yeah, fair point. Very good point.
I know
the
wheel.
the thing you have to think about is there are thousands of dirt tracks along this great nation, and NASCAR just decided to pay a bunch of money to just put dirt on an already decent track.
There are so many good dirt tracks in our state too. It's unfortunate.
Tony
Yeah, our
Stewart
state.
owns Eldora. Like, why not just go there?
I don't think they're going to give Tony Stewart anything anytime soon.
Ye have no faith, all right?
He has a job.
You got to believe in Stewart Haas Racing, brother.
That's not the same Stewart, is it?
Yes, it's
Tony
Stewart.
Stewart.
He owns it.
Really?
Yeah, he's
I thought it
co-owners
was
with Haas.
I thought it was Newman Haas.
No. It's Tony Stewart and Haas. Or, yeah.
Oh. Whoa. Yeah, I need to brush up on my NASCAR, especially since there was a race today.
There was not. It's Father's Day. They didn't have a race today.
Come on, Ben.
Wow.
Wow,
Ben.
Ben.
There will be a race next.
Ben, you don't know wheel?
I know 2 or 3 wheels, and
Yes,
they all revolve around the world, not just in the States, unfortunately.
All right, I think it's time we move on to our next topic. Our last topic of discussion, in fact, it was the F1 23 driver ratings. Every year, people look forward to these ratings. EA Sports and Formula One rank the 20 drivers to see who is the best and who is the worst in Formula One. We're going to go through and give our opinions. We could say if we agree with them, we can give our opinions on them. We have all the time in the world. Are you boys ready?
I'm ready.
Yes.
Griggs, do you want to read them out or you want me to read them out?
I got it in front of me, so I got
All
it.
right. Let's see. I got them.
Do you have them in front of you too?
I also had them in front of me. Griggs. You want me to read them out?
I mean, sure, you can.
Yeah. No,
I want you to discuss this too, because you've not talked too much this episode. I don't want to leave you out.
No, I'll give my opinions where they are. All right.
All right, Noah, you want to do it? Let's go.
Yeah, I got it. According to EA's masterful data analytics, coming in at lowest overall to highest overall, first up is Nick DeVries with a rating of 71, 50 experienced, 84 racecraft, 75 awareness, and 67 pace. How do y'all feel about him being the lowest with 67 pace and 84 racecraft?
Man, it kind of goes off of what we were really saying like earlier when we were talking about him and Logan. I mean, I know Logan's also 71 from what I'm looking at, but yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, the two people who have not scored points this year, I mean, going into the game's launch, were in the software, like the opening software, of course, they're going to be the lowest. So I agree with that.
Here's the funniest part about that, though. As you said, Logan Sargent having the same rating also has 84 racecraft, also has 75 awareness, and also has 6-7 pace. But he has 48 experience instead of Nick DeVries 50. So the only difference is he has -2 experience, and yet they're the same rating. Tell me how it makes sense.
Make it make sense.
Make
I
it
don't
make
get it.
Make
sense.
it make sense.
Yeah, EA, the geniuses over at EA are way ahead of my abilities. So
It's that
I guess
data.
they know more than we do.
It's that data analytics, brother.
What does that even mean?
It apparently it's my major here at the College of Business. So
All right, Noah, what's next?
next up, hailing from the country of Australia for the McLaren race team, Oscar Piastri with a rating of 74. Experience level is 74, racecraft is 73, awareness is 79, and pace is set at 77.
Yeah, I agree with him being the next down there, I think.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
I don't know if he
Actually,
has the awareness to
you know
be
what?
79, though. I think it should be a little bit lower.
I think he's a pretty solid 79. I mean, he's done really well as a rookie.
On his awareness, though, because he's 74 with the overall rating.
Maybe I don't know. I think his pace is there. That's a tough call.
Next
Yeah,
up,
Uh,
I think it's good as
I
is.
think they have to put the rookies that low, I think, just because their experience points are dragging them so far down, I think.
Yeah,
So that makes sense in my head.
that does make sense to me too.
next up for Alfa Romeo, Zoe Granu with a rating of 78. Experience is 63, racecraft is 78, awareness is 74, and pace is 81. What are you talking about? Griggs, I pronounced it right. What are you doing?
Joe Granu.
That's how they said it. That's how you say it, right? Hang on.
Where's the R in there?
Yeah, where's the R in
What?
Gran? And it's Joe Guan Yu, not Joe Granu.
That's
You
the
replace you
same
replace the U with
exact
an
thing.
R.
That is
No,
the
it's
same
not.
exact thing. Different Tuesday.
I hate that saying.
Well, you better get used to it because I say it a lot. What do y'all think about these ratings, though? 78 ratings. I know y'all didn't hear me because y'all too busy laughing at me. Experience level is 63, racecraft is 78, awareness is 74, and pace is 81.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're supposed to be more
I think it's fair.
aggressive
I
at
think
this.
that's
Is EA
fair.
Sports.
I think that's fair. I mean, yeah, it's again. I think again it's that experience thing going up because again he's the only sophomore driver on the grid right now, so that makes sense.
Does
Yeah.
he have a pace of 81, though, in the 80s? Higher than our next driver?
Hmm.
Hmm.
We'll
Our,
see.
our next
We
our
That
will
is a
next
see.
good question.
our next driver is Nico Hulkenberg for the Haas team with a rating of 80.
Nico Eukenberg.
However you say it.
Eukenberg.
Experience level of 86, racecraft of 79, awareness of 81, and pace of 80. So -1 on the pace there from Zoe.
Well, we'll let the results speak for themselves there. I mean, as far as I've seen, that's pretty well earned, I suppose. Mm,
I think so too. Again,
I'm really neither here nor there.
he did take a few years off. I could see where that might hinder him a little bit, but I think he did, I think it's a good rating right there for that. I know we're saying it's a good rating for everything. We got to be a little more different here soon, but I mean, I agree with
Yeah,
all these so far. It's literally just it's the experience really dragging them down than some of the cars. So
yeah.
like I don't know if you could do this in F1, whatever it is, but if you could like change the car that they're in some tracks, I think some of these drivers could be different suited.
Well, you can equal out the stats, but I think that's about it
Yeah.
of the cars.
Hey, I've won a race on F123 with Nicholas Latifi, so I can do all.
You
What?
can do anything.
I want to in 22, sorry, not 23.
What did I say?
You already got the game. You
No
got a
shot.
code. You got a code.
I got codes, man. I'm an influencer. What can I say?
Next up, Nico's teammate over at Haas, Kevin Magnussen. Rating of 81, experience of 81, racecraft of 79, awareness of 85, and pace of 82.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. We're really getting out. It's all these are really making sense. Nothing too scandalous so far.
The reason EA
No.
puts these out is to drive up conversations on Twitter to get people to buy the game. Come on now. You are not falling
Yeah.
for the
I'm
EA
not a,
Sports marketing ploy.
I'm not a corporate drone, so I'm not
Because
really
they
getting
think that like half the people who look at F1 like in America don't know who like four of the six drivers we've already talked about are.
All right.
That's very. As I go off screen to get my computer charger. I'm sorry, guys. This is
Imagine
this is what happens. This is
imagine
what
Ben
happens
were
in video.
this is what happens when you're not a business major. You can't think critically or analytically.
That's
Exactly.
literally my. Ugh, you're
Uh,
terrible.
If you
Next up with a rating of 83, Yuki Tsunoda. Experience level is 69, racecraft is 79, awareness is 75, and pace is set at 87.
all
I
right,
would.
I got
Okay, that's a controversy. I didn't know that Yuki was next. I forgot that he was going to be on the
included.
rating. I'd swap him and K Mag.
No, that's
Actually,
exactly
no,
what I was thinking.
I'd swap him and Nico.
Ooh, so would you still put Nico above K Mag?
Yes.
I'd switch K Mag and Yuki. I don't think I've seen that from Hulk yet. I mean, yeah, he has more points than K Mag this year, but just like again, you're starting so high up the grid. The game, granted, I know it was a wet qualifying, but still, just dropping positions so quickly,
Well,
dropping
that
10
close.
spots. It is bad, but still, he still
Yeah,
finished ahead of Yuki Tsunoda.
The thing
he
really
did.
helping
That's
Yuki out is his pace of 87. So that's kind of
And
where
yeah,
that
because
large
he
jump
drives
comes
flat
from.
out. Yeah.
No matter
Who-
what. He
who's
will
next?
not let you turn into the next turn. You're going off the street. Um,
He will yell at you too.
Tied with him at a rating of 83, Alexander Albon of Williams with 75 experience, 81 racecraft, 78 awareness, and 86 pace.
Yeah, he's definitely better than Yuki. I'm keeping him there until I hear someone else I disagree with.
yeah. I don't. I'm good with that.
Next
I
up,
very much agree with.
the Canadian Lance Stroll with a rating of 84, 79 experience, 91 racecraft, 78 awareness, and 81 pace. I don't think Lance Stroll should have a racecraft of 91. I don't think that's
That
right.
Aston Martin is really good.
Okay, but the car doesn't make your drive like your
What is
racecraft's
race?
just common sense in a car, basically.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, I don't think that's a 91, but I think that's a good spot for him, especially with like he has improved since he started. That is a fact. Like he used to be like the butt of a lot of jokes. Now he's getting points like every race. So granted, he's not better than Fernando. He'll be Aston Martin's number one driver till he retires.
Yeah, I think so. Um, but I still the racecraft being an 89.
91.
91.
You got to add 2 to that.
91?
The pace is an 81.
What?
All right, Noah, who's next?
Next up is one of the Frenchmen, Pierre Gasly with a rating of 85, experience 78, racecrafts 89, awareness is 76, and pace is 85. So more. Hang on, this makes no. Why would Pierre Gasly have a higher rating than Lance Stroll when all? Okay, he has 4 better racecraft,
Pierre's won a
I
race.
guess, or 4 better pace is how they do that.
Pierre's won a race.
Yeah.
Pierre has won a race.
No, I think it should be higher. It's just that it's weird. Experience, racecraft, and awareness are all lower than Lance Stroll's, but the pace is 4 attributes higher. So I guess that's how they award the extra overall to it.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand that. Who's next? Do you have a number? What number driver we're at yet, Noah?
I think we're almost halfway through the field, I believe.
All right.
Next up is his teammate at Alpine, Ocon. 86 rating, 77 experience, 92 racecraft, 76 awareness, and 86 pace.
Yeah, I don't got a problem with that.
I think he should have more experience, given that he's been in F1 for 8 years.
And a race winner.
And before that,
And a race winner.
Before that, he was also big in the karting scene, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all these guys are big in the karting scene, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I thought Esteban was special for a reason. I can't really remember.
He's French. He's special enough.
Oui, baguette. Next up, Valtteri Bottas for Alfa Romeo. 87 rating, 88 experience, 86 racecraft, 97 awareness, and 86 pace.
Okay.
Phil?
Okay.
I agree with that. I mean, 97 awareness just because of all those great years he really had in Mercedes. Just that experience, just always finishing like he was. I don't have a number for how many years he finished second in the driver's standings, but it's got to be up there with a decent amount.
The experience might be a little low as we move on up the list. I'll just let you guys listen out for it. Just remember that it was set at 88.
Okay.
Next up, the man who replaced Valtteri Bottas over at Mercedes, George Russell. 88 rating with 76 experience, 87 racecraft, 83 awareness, and 91 pace.
Ooh, so that means okay. So that means they have George Russell rated below Lando Norris.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Wow.
I don't agree with that.
They have a couple other.
Lando's a good person. I mean, he's going to sell you some video games, but
I think he's on the
I
cover.
don't think.
If I remember correctly.
No, he's on the cover of 22. I think he was on the cover of 22, I thought.
That's right.
So is George, though.
Yeah, but I think George is better. I mean, George has proven. George went from Williams to Mercedes and immediately just went. I mean, Lando's only been at McLaren, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
he's always been talked about going to these other spots. I mean, he's always been talked about the next heir to Red Bull or Mercedes because he's that British driver, charismatic. But yeah, I think George is better than him as of right now, including the machinery and all. I mean, am I crazy to say that? I mean, Lando's still not won in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Because he didn't even win. Has he won yet? Because he didn't.
No,
he hasn't won McLaren.
He's finished second. He's finished second with Danny Rick, and I think when was that? Imola.
Monza.
Monza
was
Monza,
1-2.
yeah. Monza.
One of the
was
Italian
McLaren
tracks.
Monza 1-2.
One of the Italian
No,
tracks.
it was it? No.
No, it was later in the season. It was Monza. It was Monza.
It was down the
It
stretch.
was later in the season.
Yeah, it was Monza. You're right.
Tying him with the same rating, Carlos Sainz Jr. for Ferrari. 88 rating, 84 experience, 92 racecraft, 81 awareness, and 87 pace.
So Lando is still ahead of Carlos Sainz?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. I think Lando's a better driver than Carlos.
You're wrong.
That's a toss-up. That's a toss-up for me.
It depends on the weekend, I think.
I mean, yeah, Carlos has the better machinery, but I mean, he's gotten out of that. He got out of the McLaren. I feel like Lando could and just chosen not to.
I mean, Well, Carlos also left at McLaren because Lando was beating him, and Ferrari was actually behind McLaren.
Fair
It
enough.
just wound up being a better career move for Carlos. I don't know. I We have like 3 years of head-to-head comparison with him, and it seems like Lando's come out on top every time.
But just you think about the things that Carlos has done, multiple poles. He's got the win last year at Silverstone. That's just what drives my head. I know I'm probably thinking really just
That
kind of short-term bias with in terms of like
yeah,
big success. But I mean, overall, I mean, you got to think about those McLaren. I mean, I guess I could see that being that. But yeah, I agree with you. It's just that one's a toss-up for me between him and George, or him and Lando as well.
yeah.
Definitely George, definitely Lando. I'm not sure about George yet.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Noah?
I agree with you, but EA does this in a very particular way that I kind of have to respect from a marketing standpoint. And I'll get into that in just a second. But next up, from Mexico for Red Bull, Sergio Perez with a rating of 89, experience of 91, racecraft of 93, awareness of 86, and pace of 87.
Well,
Personally,
this game,
I think his pace needs to go up a little bit up from the 87. I think he's a little bit faster than Carlos Sainz on pace wise, but I can see it.
Lando Norris should not be ahead of Carlos. Should not be ahead of Sergio Perez. There is no, or is he tied? No, is that what you're about to say?
Yes, he is tied, but
Still, should not be that.
It counts
Yep.
Lando Norris as in the top 5 of the drivers. So
Yes, I agree with that. I
You
agree with
agree?
that.
You compare them as racers?
Yeah, I think Perez should even be lower than Sainz. Um, I mean, look at he's he hasn't except for the races when he's won due to being in the faster car. He hasn't been anywhere on the pace.
I mean, he won in a Force India.
So,
I mean, I just think he's better than Lando. Like,
no, I mean
yes, Lando's.
Lando was chasing for that win in a McLaren at Monza. Um, I mean the
Yeah,
win is
chasing for wins. He's never gotten to the point.
yeah.
Yeah, the
They
driver
told
they
him
just
to
got
not chase
the
the win.
driver they just paid $30 million won a race before Lando Norris to leave, and
I mean
he,
that's
he's
not.
in a dead end spot at McLaren.
I don't think he is. I really
You
don't.
think
I think
you think in the next 3 years he can win a race at McLaren?
no.
Okay,
He'll never win if he stays at McLaren.
okay. Now if he goes
That's
to a different
that's
team,
not
I
going to
think
be.
it's now if he gets some better machinery, I think he can. But with the body of
Yeah,
work he's produced so far at McLaren and his best finish being a P2, no poles, I'm just not seeing it. I think Sergio Perez is better. There's a reason he's gotten more contracts at Red Bull because he is reliable. He can get those spots. Yes, he's been a little shaky these past couple qualifying sessions, but I mean he's 9 points ahead of Fernando Alonso now in the driver's standing. He's 24 ahead of Lewis Hamilton.
ton.
yeah.
Kind of arguing about this. It's good for the content.
No, I really don't think Perez is in the top five.
Perez
I
is the
think
top
on
5.
a
Wait,
yeah,
no.
but I don't think
Lando's top 5. Excuse me. He's 6th.
okay, yeah. I think that's fair. I think Carlos could beat Perez in a Red Bull,
Okay, I could potentially see that.
and that's my key reason why I debated their positioning there. I think Carlos could beat Fernando or Lando. I think Carlos could beat Perez. I think Lando would beat Carlos.
All right, Noah, top 4, hit us.
Well, I didn't. Okay, top 5 Lando Norris. I'll run through. He's a rated 89, 76 experience, 91 racecraft, 79 awareness, and 91 pace. So I don't get how he's an 89 overall, being that he has 76 experience and 79 awareness, when Sergio Perez is also 89 with 91 experience and 93 racecraft.
It's because Lando's going to sell more video games than him.
Well, yes, but he's also apparently going to stream it, hopefully, probably in a banana suit. 4th place driver, something that I do not agree with. Also tied with Lando Norris and Sergio Perez at a rating of 89. Charles Leclerc
No,
77 experience, 92 racecraft, 85 awareness, and 90 pace.
no.
90.
Look,
He's a 90.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep dogging on Perez. If Perez is that close to Leclerc, I mean, come on,
I
come
think
on.
I think I think Charles is the 90. He's definitely better than those two.
He's head and shoulders better than the. Come on, I- it's not good enough, EA. It's not good enough.
This is what they want. They want the content creators like us to debate this. This is what they are wanting.
They won't even
Yeah,
give us a code. Can you believe it?
Give us give us some codes, EA, please. We'll promote the
No,
please.
show
no.
in pseudo manners. In non, we'll just talk about the game more.
All right.
I'm
We'll
kidding.
talk about the game more, and
It's all
and
jokes.
and potentially embed the links in our Twitter bio.
What? No.
We are joking. Ben is winking.
Um, in Minecraft.
Number 3.
Next, the top 3 overall driver with a rating of 92, experience of 97, racecraft of 94, awareness of 94, and pace of 90. Griggs, do you know who it is?
It's gonna be
Fernando
Fernando Alonso.
No, it's Lewis Hamilton.
Alonso.
Ooh.
What?
Yes, I realized as I read it out that sounds a lot like Fernando Alonso.
Are him and Fernando tied?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they're tied at
Okay.
92.
Okay.
Okay.
But
And then Max is
Oh,
number 1 at 94, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So
Fernando Alonso, though, the difference between him and Lewis is he has 99 experience, which is kind of funny. You got to admit.
I mean, it's fair. It's fair.
Fernando
Is that
Alonso.
what is that
F1 as long as I've been alive.
is that
So,
the
yeah.
tiebreaker that F1 is that the tiebreaker this website uses as experience?
Yes.
No, because Sergio Perez appears at the bottom of Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris, and he has 91 experience.
Nordis.
No, however you say it.
Nordis.
Nordis.
If I had to
Nordis.
guess,
Nordis the tortoise.
I think it's whatever. Honestly, I don't think there's a tiebreaker. I think this is just how EA Sports
How they want
breaks
it.
down who's the best. Yeah.
I mean, of course Max is number 1. I mean, that's without question. I mean, I could see how he could flip Fernando and Sir Lewis around. Maybe not this year. I mean, last year they definitely put Lewis ahead of Fernando just because they're looking at that car. I mean, this is just not. This is a good example. But they're not just looking just at the driver. They're looking at the car. I'd say 70. I go 80% of the driver, and then about 20% of what car they're driving. I feel like. Let me know if I'm wrong. I think that's one part of the reason around this, just because and Fernando's experience really carrying him here.
That
Thoughts?
Yeah.
is kind of a hard thing to judge, though, if you're EA Sports' data analyzers. Their ratings adjuster for Madden, it's like Snoop Dogg or Snoop Dogg or something. So I don't know who they got for F1.
Anybody?
I have a
Yeah.
hard time taking it seriously.
What?
I said I have a hard time taking the ratings adjustment seriously.
Well,
For
it's meant to drive up interest in the game. I'll finish this out by reading Max Verstappen's stat line: 94 overall, 84 experience, 97 racecraft, 85 awareness, and 95 pace.
yeah, I mean that's as high as you can do it without seeming
just-
unfair.
What did you say experience was?
84. I think, honestly, the only thing I have a real problem with is awareness. I feel like you can bump that up a little bit. to
What's
like
his awareness at
87,
again?
88, 85.
That can be the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
And you looked at me like I'm crazy. Why would I be crazy?
I'm thinking it's lower.
Ooh. Do tell.
He's so good that he falls asleep at the wheel.
I mean, he freaking
Bumped his
drove
pace
that
up
car
three-
with a bird in his back brake ducts today and still won the race by 10 seconds, basically.
Yeah, bump his pace up by like 3 or 4, and take his awareness down by 1.
I think he'd take that.
Yeah, I think he'd be okay with that. I think he'd rather know that he's fast than aware. I don't think he really cares about being courteous.
Yeah, I don't think he's really ever cared about that on the track.
No,
He
he
cares
lets his
about winning,
race.
finishing first.
Exactly. Exactly. He's a winner.
He
He's a
ain't
winner.
first, you're last. Ricky Bug. Wow. That was a good show, though, gents.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about this race. We spent about 25 minutes talking about the ratings.
That's because it's what the people
That's
want.
that is our F1 23 preview for the game. But yeah, good show. Back same time next week. Let me do the
Yep.
outro. Thank you. Oh, Ben's got one more thing.
No. I'm good.
You good? No, are you good?
I'm good.
I think Lance Stroll should have been the highest rated driver in the game.
Where's Nicholas Latifi as an alternate driver?
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
The people want to know. The people want to know. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Smooth Operators. Missed any of today's show? You can check it out on your favorite podcast platform. Probably tomorrow afternoon when Noah gets that up. We'll be back here same time next week. I think we'll be doing a preview for the next race, which is my computer just lagged. It is the Austrian Grand Prix, so we'll get you back there. That is the Red Bull Ring, correct?
Yes, it is.
The Red Bull Ring, a great track to watch. And yeah, that's it for this show. For Ben McClurkin, Noah Phillips, I'm Greg Splittingberg. This has been Smooth Operators on Weagle 91.1 FM. Happy Father's Day, everyone. If you've not just said Happy Father's Day to your father yet, go wish him a Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day from all of us here at Smooth Operators. But until next time, we'll see you later. Have a great week, and War Eagle.